Sometimes we think that nature-inspired design only means green walls and plants, but from biomimicry to technological innovation that draws on natural principles, there is a much more comprehensive and compelling way of looking at how commercial interior design can be inspired by nature. In fact, that's what we're here today to discuss in this Mix Roundtable with Dyson.
Technology can help us to address nature in that it can help us to listen, observe and react to the natural environment, to help us to use products more efficiently and more intelligently across their life and also through their reuse.
Technology can enable us to intelligently incorporate natural elements to the design by using data, by reflecting to the human rhythms, and intelligently and smartly understand how humans work and behave in the built environment.
I think there's a bit of a misconception that technology actually often drives us further away from nature, but I think as designers it's important for us to remember there are loads of ways that we can use technology to incorporate and enhance nature-focused design. So whether that's things like using AI now to generate these amazing natural soundscapes, or through to things like using technology for 3D printing, making these amazing natural patterns or mimicking textures from nature, which again we respond to really positively as humans.
If we look at the natural world and we really look at the underlying systems and how nature really works rather than just looking at it superficially, we can really draw inspiration from the circularity and the waste-free nature of nature, which would allow us to then design much more responsibly and sensibly.
There are so many problems that could be solved by looking towards the natural world. It can help us to think in a more nuanced and mutually beneficial way about the products that we use every day. And now, take a forest floor, for instance. I mean, a forest floor, it will contain billions of microrhizomes, billions of natural living bacteria. It contains water. It allows water to drain away. It provides nutrients for plants and trees. It has all the ingredients needed to create with a circular approach of the waste materials that are being produced in a forest. What do? Well, we create concrete paving panels.
For me particularly, I love the fact that nature is all about simplicity, finding the most elegant solution through sort of, millions of years of evolution. Nature has found the simplest way, the kind of Occam's razor approach. As designers, I think often we are tempted to try to load lots of ideas into projects or to maybe overcomplicate things or search for perfection. And actually, that's not how nature necessarily works.
I mean, nature has been with us for forever. But why is it that only now we're beginning to see certain solutions which have been, understanding nature all the time there? So I think it's a mindset and how open we are and the technology we have to actually understand these problems and solve it in a very credible and a real manner.
For me, the biggest misconception about nature-inspired design that I tend to see is this idea that it has to be soft and curvy and all these complex, very highly engineered parametric forms, which is kind of ironic that you have these incredibly engineered things that are supposed to replicate nature. Whereas actually there's lots of ways we can bring nature into our designs, whether it's to do with materials or textures or patterns and colours, even smells and sounds.
At its worst, nature-inspired design looks at nature as sort of one-dimensional and superficial and then represents it like that, which leads to things like living walls or artificial materials that look natural but don't really hit the mark.
The greatest misconception about nature-inspired design, I think, is that it has to be ugly. Not to say that nature, is ugly, but I think a lot of people have the idea that it has to be, straw and has to use, adobe bricks and mud huts and all. Maybe I'm quite naive in saying about this, but I think it can be inspired by nature, but not look that way. I think what we need to do is to take the principles and understand it and reinterpret it in a very modern way.
One of the greatest misconceptions about the natural world is that we've completely forgotten the delicacy, the interconnectedness, the circularity of the web of life that surrounds us. And we forget that at our greatest peril when we look at the catastrophic natural events that are happening around the world as a result of climate change and biodiversity loss.